Here we can see some of the components of our MRI machine, and we've got a person in the center of the MRI machine. They have gradient coils around them, and these coils are for producing radio frequencies. At the Lamore frequency. They also detect the returning signal after the relaxation time. So when the protons, which are spinning, if they're unpaired, they have a net spin, so these protons will flip after a radio wave is sent in, they'll flip over, and then they'll flip back, and the radio wave is released. So around the outside of this, we have these superconducting, supercooled magnets. So they're cooled with liquid helium, and they can generate very strong magnetic fields in the patient, causing the hydrogen ions in this patient to start precessing. Magnetic field can be varied, and as the field is varied, the Lamore frequency changes along the length of the patient. So these coils can pick up and send a variety of frequencies to known corresponding magnetic field strengths. So it makes it very easy to identify where a particular, if this field changes all the way along, and it causes different Lamore frequencies in the precessing hydrogen atoms all the way along the patient. So here it might be different to here, it might be different to here, it might be different to here. Those different Lamore frequencies can then be tested. Frequencies can be sent by the coils and received by the coils. You notice there's X and Y coils to very accurately locate hydrogen ions returning particular frequencies. So those frequencies are detected and their exact position is located within the body. So we have here the main components, supercooled magnets, creating the magnetic field, and radio emitting or radio coils, and we call it gradient coils because a variety of radio frequencies can be produced along that length of the coil. So those coils produce these small variations in the magnetic field across the patient's body. Okay, so that the magnetic field intensity has a unique value at every single point in the patient's body. And that means that the hydrogen atoms at each point in the body have a unique Lamore frequency, and their exact position and their corresponding frequencies are accurately known. So a pulse of radio waves is transmitted through the bodies from the coils. This flips your magnetic axis, hydrogen nuclei, and then they flip back. That's the relaxation time. There are different relaxation times, T1 and then T2. So T1 within molecules around the hydrogen ions, and T2 within separate molecules like water within the hydrogen ions. So each one of those emit radio waves when they flip back, and it's proportional to the number of hydrogen ions in that area. So if there's a lot of water in that area, it'll take longer for the multiple to flip back. That's your T2 time. The frequency of these RF waves is varied, and the hydrogen nuclei within each voxel area resonate at their characteristic Lamore frequency. So data is gathered, and it pertains or it relates to the concentration of hydrogen in that area, hydrogen atoms. So obviously if there's more water, you'll get more hydrogen atoms. Then the MRI image is computed using the information that comes back from those radio frequency coils. And that relaxation data can be used to tell the difference between different tissues that have different T1 and T2 times. Sometimes we have to, if the T1 and T2 times are very close together, we need to introduce something into the body which is like a chemical agent, and it can be used to enhance an image. So gadolinium can be used to, and it increases the gap between the T1 and T2 times. So it allows the computer to be more fine-tuned and get a better resolution image. And that's called a contrast agent. It just makes a bigger difference between the tissues which are detected, their T1 and T2 times being different. Okay, the last image is just showing the same sort of thing as the first one, but here you can see we've got frequencies, and if you want to read that, I'll leave it on the screen for a bit longer. It's essentially describing that whole process, and you'll have to pause. And there's our patient within our supercooled magnets and our gradient, X and Y gradient coils. Provides the magnetic field, and these provide the radio frequency.